This is Chromatopelma cyaneopubescens, also known as Greenbottle Blue or GBB. I first acquired this spider as a pretty large spiderling sometime in 2018. This is the only picture I could find of her as a juvenile, but I wanted to show the dramatic change to its adult coloration. It molted 5 times in my care, but in December of 2021, which was just a few months after I moved into a new house, which may have stressed the spider enough to affect this, it molted again, and I noticed that its pedipalps and last several segments of its first pair of legs were bent outward unnaturally. This seemed to make movement in general and sensing prey awkward and difficult, since spiders rely on signals from hair and other mechanisms on their legs as a pretty major sense. This was a bad problem for this spider. It was lucky that the damage was not fatal. I started feeding it as much as it would take in order to bring on the next molt as soon as possible, sometimes crushing the prey's head so it would be easy to catch. I've heard of spiders with similar injuries self-amputating, but that did not happen in this case. In only about 6 months it molted again. For a tarantula of this size, that's a pretty short interval, which is probably related to its injury. It had a stump where one of its pedipalps should have been, but the other limbs looked okay, so I figured the hard part of recovery was over with. It was able to sense and eat better than before, but it still wasn't 100% better. It took more than a year for it to molt again. I was lucky enough to catch it while its exoskeleton was still white and soft. I used an eyedropper to put a little bit of water on its mouth parts and captured this video where you can see what I think is the esophagus drinking the water. It probably wasn't necessary to do this. I only did it because it was in a position for me to do it easily, and I didn't want to take a chance of losing it after overcoming so much, as the act of molting dehydrates the spider internally and externally leaves it vulnerable while the exoskeleton hardens, which for a tarantula of this size could take a week or more. The spider had its missing pedipalp back, albeit thinner and weaker looking. Before this molt, this new baby arm had been forming under the old cuticle as part of this current cuticle. I expect that after the next molt, that pedipalp will be back to full strength. The spider now has lots of energy for a tarantula and eats readily with no problems. I hope this video was educational and entertaining for you. I've been waiting almost 2 years to make it,